Welcome to Queen City. I'm David Jones, the Sergeant of Arms, and I'd like to call the meeting to order. As a Sergeant of Arms, I get to tell an interesting fact about this day in history. It was 247 years ago in 1775 when the U.S. Postal Service was established. Who knew? So when you get your mail today, it was 247 years ago that it started. Does anybody know? Okay, good point. Look at you. Well, I thought I have a question. I figured Jamie's going to get it, but we'll see. Who was the first Postmaster General? Why do you know that? He just knows random things. It was Ben Franklin, yes. And also, my future wife, today is Sandra Bullock's birthday. And that's all I've got. All right, and I'd like to go ahead and turn the meeting over to our president, Mr. Elvis Lopez.
Thank you, David, for those interesting facts. And good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Welcome guests to Queen City Toastmasters Club. Before we start with the program, we always start with recognizing our guests. So I would like for our guests to participate with us and let us know your name, how did you hear about our club, and what your interest is in joining Toastmasters. So I will start with the ones that are here on site, and then we will continue with any guests that we have on Zoom. For the ones that are on site, for the benefits of those who are online, we will have to pass on the mic so that they can hear you. So I will start with Tom, that is here.
Hi, I'm Tom Owens. I heard about Toastmasters just searching online. So just looking for community, networking, new to the city. Just moved here in February.
We have a guest here.
Hi, my name is Heather, and I actually know David from hiking, and I came last November as a guest, and I'm going to join for the rest of the year. And joining Toastmasters to improve public speaking, but also confidence and networking, and just learning something new. It sounds like I was very inspired. The one meeting I did come to, and was very impressed. So thank you.
Who else do we have? We have Daryl is also a guest, but he is a Toastmaster from another club. So I will pass his introduction for today. And we will go on with the members or guests that are on Zoom. So who do we have? Can you please introduce yourself?
I can pop in. My computer's frozen. There we go. I am Melissa Hutchinson. I actually live very close to this venue and hope to be there next week. I heard about Toastmasters a while back and have just kind of been avoiding it, but it has been a goal of mine, and I am looking forward to participating and improving my public speaking.
Great, thank you. We still have another guest here in person, so I'm going to switch over the mic to him, and then I'll come back to the other guests on Zoom.
Yeah, my name's Leon. This is my third time as a guest. One of the reasons I came back is because I enjoyed the experience and the overall organization of how you guys flow throughout your meetings. And one of the things that I'm looking to gain from this Toastmasters experience is to continue to perfect my public speaking, as well as networking and just getting more comfortable talking in front of large groups of people. Yeah.
Thank you. And we will continue with the other guests. I can't see the names. but I s-
Anton. Hello.
Yep, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Anton. This is my second Zoom meeting. I went to one 3 or 4 years ago in New York City, and I never went back. So it's kind of bothered me that I didn't go. I've been meaning to do this for some time, so I figure, you know what, this is the best time to just jump into it and increase my public speaking, just feel a little bit more comfortable in front of people, and take a big step. Thank you.
And I think we have another person. Ellington. That's Eugene. And who's the other person? Can you unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
Is it me? Are you saying to me?
You can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, I'm so sorry about that. So yeah, my name is Saurabh Bansal. So I got to know about this club through Meetup today, and I was looking forward to join something like Toastmasters. I got to know about Toastmasters a couple of months back, and I love, you know, I like to have some kind of growth, and there is always some scope to growth. So that's why I joined these clubs, to learn from all of you and to polish my public speaking skills. And that's why I'm here. And thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much to all our guests. It's going to be a fun, entertaining, educational, informational meeting for all. I'd like to introduce the person who is going to lead us throughout the rest of this meeting. He's our Toastmaster, Sarah Mary Toce.
Hello, everyone. I am your Toastmaster of the day. I am the president of South Park Toastmasters, but I get the wonderful privilege of being a sister to your club and attending meetings and holding really wonderful positions. So it's so great to be with you. Tonight, our theme is time management, mostly because I needed to do the research on different tips for better time management. So this was a really wonderful experience for me to look up, and really, because I'd like to be a good steward of all of your time, I'm going to keep the tips that I found short, sweet, simple, and to the point. So I'll just be offering a few throughout the evening. But before we begin our program, of course, we have to introduce all of our roles, and we will begin with none other than John Capello for our inspirational thought.
Thank you, Sarah Mary. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, most honorable guests, both here at the Vine as well as online. I'm going to try to be inspirational this evening. And you may have heard this one before, but I think it's profound and relevant. So I'm going to repeat it. I want you all to imagine for a second that there exists a magical bank. And that bank deposits into your account every day $86,400. And you have the freedom to withdraw, spend, invest as much as or as little as you so choose. It has one caveat though. It does not carry forward daily balances, which means at the end of every day, whatever is unused gets debited to zero. Use it or lose it. Now, knowing that whatever goes unused is in fact wasted, let me ask you a question. What would you do? Would you pull out every last cent and invest it wisely? I would hope so. I've got some reality for you. There already exists a bank just like this, and that bank is called time. Time deposits into your account just for you 86,400 seconds. That's the amount of seconds in a day for those doing math. And time will write off any unused deposit as a loss for not investing it wisely. And much like the prior example, there are no carry forward balances. There are no overdrafts. Use it or lose it. And if you're lucky, the next day the pattern will repeat and time will deposit another 86,400 seconds. It will be your responsibility to utilize that deposit. If left unused, if left underutilized, if left underappreciated, the loss will be yours. You can't go back. You can't borrow from the future. You must seize the day, seize the moment, make every single second count. Time. Realize its value. If you want to realize the value of a year, go ask a student that failed their last class before graduation. If you want to realize the value of a month, go ask a mother who gave birth to a premature child. If you want to realize the value of a week, go ask a editor-in-chief of a weekly public newspaper publication. If you want to realize the value of an hour, go ask a commuter that just missed their train. If you want to realize the value of a second, go ask someone who narrowly missed getting in a life-threatening accident. And if you want to recognize the value of a millisecond, go ask an Olympic silver medalist. My point is, Toastmasters, is that time waits for no one. We are not guaranteed tomorrow's deposit. So make every second count. Toastmaster Mary.
Thank you, John. You never disappoint. Okay, I will introduce our grammarian for the evening, who is Elvis. No, I'm sorry. Yes, Elvis? Okay, great. Wow, you're doing two jobs. Awesome, Elvis. Yay, help me welcome. Awesome. Two hats today. There you go.
Thank you so much. Good evening again, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. I have the pleasure to be the grammarian tonight. As a grammarian, my responsibility will be to pay attention to the words and phrases used during the speeches tonight. I will be counting all the filler words that are used, like you know, right? So those filler words that are not necessarily needed because they do not provide any additional value to our speech. And most of the time can be eliminated. By eliminating consciously those filler words, we provide a cleaner, authentic, and also more powerful delivery of our speech. So we are trying to consciously eliminate the filler words until they become unconscious and we don't have to think about that anymore. I will be also presenting the word of the day. The word of the day is attention, the act or state to focus our mind into something. I will encourage all of the speakers to use the word of the day in all of your speeches. If you do, I will give a special kudos at the end of your speech. Madam Toastmaster.
If you need any help eliminating ums, ahs, or uhs, just pay attention to Elvis because he is the king of the pause. Very intentional speaker. Okay, I will now introduce our timer. Daryl, would you like to explain your role tonight? I know we've thrown you. Okay, perfect. Excellent. Yay. Thank you, Daryl. I know we threw you into the fire tonight.
Hello, my name is Daryl Horowitz. I hope you are all paying attention because I am going to tell you what my role as the timer is. By the way, is there a speaker today? 3 speakers. The time frames are 5 to 7. Okay, so we have 3 speakers tonight. The speeches are 5 to 7 minutes. When you get to 5 minutes, we're going to turn on that green light right there. When we get to 6 minutes, that yellow light's going to come on. When we get to 7 minutes, the red light is going to come on. And that light's going to stay on until you finish your speech. Now you have an extra 30 seconds. You want to try to complete it before that 30 seconds is up. But again, that's why we're going to keep it on for you. We're going to do table topics tonight. Table topics are 1 to 2 minutes. So at 1 minute, the green light's coming on. Yellow's coming on at 1.5. Red's coming on at 2. And as always, with everything we do speaking wise, you always get a 30-second grace period. Then I imagine we're going to have 3 evaluators. Evaluations are from 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, you're already ahead of me. Look at that. He's paying attention. You see that? So we got the green light on right there. At 2.5, we got the yellow. And at 3, we got the red. And again, we've got the extra 30 seconds to finish up whatever you have to say. And I know everyone's going to do a great job tonight. So that's all I've got. I'm out.
Thank you so much. We threw Daryl in the fire tonight. He thought he was showing up as a guest and he was going to get to relax, but we put him to work. Okay, so we don't have a ballot counter tonight because we've run out of ballots. So instead of inviting them up, I will just give you your first little time management nugget of the evening. The power of no. So I am actually a recovering people pleaser. I vomit yes like it's my full-time job. I say yes to anything and everything before I even consider how it might affect mine or my husband's life and time. So I think that we need to take a really good look at the good book. The Bible says, let your yes mean yes and your no mean no. So whether you're religious or not, I do think it's a really good, sound piece of advice that when we say yes, make sure that you're able to be fully present. When you say no, let that be an invitation to the person who's asked you to do something to utilize their time elsewhere to seek somebody who can provide 100%. And if you're not much for the Bible, you can take Ron Swanson's great advice. Never half-ass anything, just whole-ass one thing. With that, I will invite our first speaker of the evening, who is none other than Dr. Eric Laxer. He is on his presentation mastery pathway, understanding your communication style. The title of his speech is Easier Said Than None, using the 4 communication styles to be a better communicator. Dr. Eric.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Please bear with me wearing my mask. I hope you understand what I communicate. And I know that title got everyone's attention. So a few years ago, my wife and I were getting ready to go out for the evening to a formal event. We were all dressed and we weren't running late, but it was getting a little close. She looked over at me and she said with this exasperated tone, she said, "I look terrible tonight, don't I?" Well, I was totally unprepared for that comment. Our conversation up to that point was light. We were talking about the evening. We thought we were going to go out and have a great time. And so I really didn't have any response that I could give her that I was comfortable with. And I realized immediately that I was in trouble. I had a couple of options. I could disagree with her and tell her what I really felt was, honey, you look great. You have nothing to worry about. But I was concerned that she may have thought my comments were related more to the fact that I wanted us to leave and we were running late and we needed to get to the event on time. So I didn't say that. The second thing I could have done was what partners usually do. They just support and agree with their partner. And that would have meant I would have said something like, you know, you're right. You look terrible tonight. Clearly, that was not the right answer. And had I said that, I know there would have been thunder and lightning in our house that evening. Well, in a state of indecisiveness, panic, and motivated by self-preservation, I really didn't say anything. I just slid out of the room quietly in an effort to not put myself in a sabotage position. And I let her carry on with her preparation, and we ended up leaving for the evening without any problem. But I always thought that in hindsight, I could have handled that situation better. Friends, we know that communication is extremely important toward relationships. And in relationships, if you have good communication, you're usually going to have a good relationship. Well, this module that I went through takes you through 4 different communication styles and gives you an opportunity to learn about each of them and also to identify your own style and apply it in different situations. So what I'd like to do over the next few minutes is go through those different styles and also explain what my predominant style is, but then also come back to that scene with my wife and use the 4 different communication styles as a way of maybe handling that situation a little bit differently, or having the luxury, as they say, of just doing a redo. So the 4 communication styles are supportive, analytical, initiating, and direct. And if you take the first letter from each of those words, SAID, it gives you an acronym for the word said, which is why I chose in the title of my presentation tonight, easier said than none, meaning that if you can use these 4 styles and develop a system, and remember that acronym, that in times of difficult communication, you might be able to call upon it and use it as a tool. So let's go through each of them. If your communication style is supportive, you're calm, you're steady, you're sincere, you're good at active listening, you're patient and sympathetic, and you don't hesitate to have the other person share more details about their situation with you. You're basically a good listener. The second style is analytical. If your style is analytical, you tend to be precise, logical. You want to know the facts, and you don't usually give your opinion until you're sure that you know the facts. The third communication style is initiating. If your style is initiating, you're usually energetic, friendly, talkative, and sociable, and relationships are really important to you. You like praise, you like approval. And the last communication style is direct. If your style is direct, you're usually decisive, independent, confident, and goal-oriented. It's usually more important for you to accomplish a goal and a task than it is to maintain good relationships. Sometimes people who use that style can be perceived as being impatient or demanding. Now, in truth, although we each have our predominant styles, in many situations, the way we communicate is a blend of all of those 4 different styles. So part of this pathway involved taking a quiz to understand what my own personal style was. And where I scored predominantly was in supportive, but also direct, initiating, and even analytical. And it wasn't a surprise to me that I scored in all those categories, because when I thought about it, doing so was really consistent with how I functioned with people as a physician. For example, being supportive and analytical is very common when you're listening to a patient tell you their story, or when you're giving them advice and trying to explain to them through research-based evidence why they should follow certain instructions. But being direct is also important sometimes. For example, you might get called to see a patient in an emergent situation and be required to give them very specific advice in a timely fashion. So let's get back to that conversation with my wife, and let's see if we can give her a better response using some of these techniques through the different communication styles. Well, a supportive response might look something like this. Hey, sweetie, I understand your feelings. I know you feel frustrated, but can you expand on what you mean when you say you think you look terrible? An analytical response might look something like, hey, sweetie, don't worry. Your dress and your shoes, they match perfectly, and you picked the perfect eyeshadow and lipstick color to go with everything you're wearing. You look great. An initiating response might look something, hey, you look awesome, amazing, beautiful, everyone's going to agree with me. You don't need to change a thing. And a direct response might look something like, wow, you look good. Let's go. So truthfully, I'm not really sure that I found the perfect response if I ever run into a situation like that again, because tricky conversations, well, they're tricky. But in closing, I definitely learned a lot going through this module, and it gives me something to work on. And I hope it gives you something to work on too. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Eric. I can say as a wife that has asked that question many times, all 4 of those answers would do. Okay, I'm going to invite our next guest up, our next speaker, who is Junior Gomez, and he will be, the title of his speech is A Story to Tell.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and honorable guests. As Sad Marie said, my name is Junior, and tonight I have a story to share with you guys. If you know me, you know I love riding bikes. I currently have 3 bikes at home, a unicycle, a road bike, and I just got this brand new electric bike that I've been wanting for so long. You've probably seen me riding around Charlotte in my bike. That's how much I love riding bikes. With this new electric bike that I just got, I remember 2 weeks ago, I assembled it, and the first thing I did was just sat in my living room with the bike, and I'm looking around just like, wow, I can't believe I got this thing. This is awesome. But it brought back a memory when I was younger. When I was a kid, my dad used to get me bikes as I was growing up. My first one was a Power Ranger bike. So cool, sleek, black, with the Power Rangers in front with the badge. It was awesome. And I used to do the same thing. I used to stand in my living room with my training wheels on and just imagine me riding down the block in the Bronx, New York with my bike. My dad used to take me and my sister to Central Park. We're from New York City. And if you know Central Park, there's a big loop. It's a 7-mile loop around the entire park. And my dad used to take us around the entire loop. This day, he took me and my sister down to Central Park, and we went to the square where we went to rest for a bit. My dad was exhausted. It was 3 miles. And in this square, I saw kids my age, a little older than me as well, riding their bikes, but without any training wheels. They were also riding their bikes without no hands. They were popping wheelies. They were jumping. And I remember just stopping and just sitting on my bike, just looking in awe, just, oh my God, how are they doing that? There's no way that I'll be able to do that ever in my life. I'm this young boy, had no idea when my training wheels were gonna come off. I just saw them and I was so inspired, but I didn't have the confidence to do that yet. Of course, I was young, but I wanted to. And my dad saw me from a distance. He saw me watching these guys, and he came to me and he said, "Are you ready to go?" But before I left, I stopped and I looked at him and I looked back at those kids, and he saw how much I was impressed by their skills and their talent and what they were doing. And I said, how are they doing that? This is so cool. And he told me at that moment, he said, if they can do it, so can you. These were words that I carried on for the rest of my life. And I thought about it as a young boy to this day now. If someone is doing something that I find incredible or achievable, whatever it is, I know that I can do it too. Throughout my time, as I was growing up and as I was doing the things that I was doing, I constantly remembered what my dad was saying. And it was one day when we were in the Bronx, New York, while we were riding our bikes, and my sister had her training wheels on her bike. And this day, my dad thought that she was ready to take her training wheels off. And I remember looking at them like, there's no way she's gonna take her training wheels off. She's not ready. But her training wheels were up. She was riding in the middle lane, in the middle, in the two wheels. And this day, he finally took them off. And trial after trial, I saw him and her he was pushing her and he let her go. And I saw her riding in the wind. And at that moment, I said, wow, I can't believe she did it. So I went to my dad and I said, you're taking my wheels off today too. And he said, are you sure? And I said, if she can do it, so can I. And that day he took the training wheels off. I didn't learn how to ride a bike that day. But later that summer I did. I kept going, I kept trying, because I knew that if she had the power to do it and everybody else did, I knew that I could do it at some point. Later that summer, I learned how to ride a bike without no hands. Later that summer, I learned how to bunny hop the bike. I never learned how to pop a wheel either. I still try. My message to all of you is if you see someone doing something that you don't think is possible for you, whether that's starting a business, whether that's starting a hobby, buying a house, whatever that may be, they are no different than you. They are no different. If they can do it, so can you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Junior. That was a fabulous story. Okay, our third and final speaker of the night. We're moving right along. None other than Fitzgerald Light, Fitz, as we call him. He is on his dynamic leadership pathway, understanding your communication style. His project title is Identifying My Communication Style. Fitz.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys are in for a treat. You get to hear this twice. So pop quiz at the end. We'll see how much you remember. Thank you, Toastmaster Sari, for such a wonderful introduction. Welcome, fellow members, honorable guests, those attending in person and online. This summer, I started a business venture. It's named Queens Club. It's an exclusive social club tailored towards young adults that focuses on networking, philanthropy, professional development, and of course, having a great time with like-minded individuals. Now, we have our board meetings on Sundays. We have an outlined agenda. We have a presentation similar to this meeting. And the way how I run my meetings, I like to have 3 goals in mind. First, it starts out with having a thoughtful agenda. You know, I want to make sure everyone that comes to the meeting knows everything that's going to be discussed. Number 2, it's making sure that, tangents are inevitable. And they are great for creativity, but at the same time, I like to nip it in the bud and make sure that the meeting doesn't last forever, because no one likes a meeting that goes on for a little bit too long. And then thirdly, and most importantly, I want to make sure it's a productive meeting, because everyone that comes to the meeting, I want us to walk away with a clearer view of next steps and action items going on for this week. So recently I received some feedback from the other board members. They said that the way I run my meeting is efficient, but it might be a little bit too direct. And I thought, like, me, direct, I mean, can you believe that? Like, I can't believe it either. Like, I can't believe it. Well, sure, it was feedback. I took it. Went home that night to prepare for today's speech, and funny enough, the topic was discovering your communication style. And not only that, but how you can adapt your communication style to also connect with others. And that's what we're going to discuss today, the results that I learned. So let's start out talking about me, because don't we all love to talk about ourselves? In order to find out your communication style, you have to complete a questionnaire, as Eric mentioned, if you were paying attention. And as I was going through that questionnaire, it asks questions on your wardrobe, how you interact in team dynamics, and how you communicate with others. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm so supportive. I'm so collaborative. I confidently hit submit. I waited for the results to load, and sure enough, they were 100% right. Like, it said basically that I was 100% a direct communicator. Like, it was, the other areas were not close at all. And I sat there, you know, I kind of read through I read through the explanation that it gave for a direct communicator. And as I was going through it, it felt like I was basically reading autobiography. And this is my autobiography voice. If I was to narrate my own autobiography, it would go something like this. Fitz's communication style is results-oriented, focused, and competitive. He's motivated to get things accomplished, quick and decisive. Because Fitz is independent and confident, he prefers a busy, efficient, and structured environment. Fitz prefers, or other direct communicator prefers, when you get to the point quickly and in a succinct manner. Now, when dealing with direct communicators, be specific, avoid over-explaining or repeating yourself, and focus on solutions, and only provide details when asked. Now, unfortunately, others may sometimes perceive this as being impatient or demanding. And after I read that, like I said, I sat there and I pondered through my previous interactions with individuals, and I realized that, yeah, as I said, it was 100% correct. So cool. I was like, now I know my communication style. But where this activity really got interesting is I hit next on that, you know, the dialogue on the screen, and it said, now we're going to show you how you can interact with others based on your communication style. And as I started going through the different sections, I started associating people in my life with these certain categories. And I realized that, okay, now I can take this for my next interaction with this person and realize how I can compose myself. So the first person that came to mind is my best friend, Amit. He's what you would call an initiating communicator. He's enthusiastic, pretty persuasive, and extremely sociable. He's the type of person, if you left him in an empty room, you would come back and somehow find the wall talking back at him. Now, what this assignment emphasizes is that initiators value relationships. They respond well to praise. They respond well to praise and approval, and it's also best to socialize and just do small talk a little bit before diving deep into meeting topics. The next communication style is supportive. I associate my mom with this. She's cooperative, sympathetic, and patient, as long as you don't leave a fork in the sink. Because then, yeah, I don't care what time it is, 2 a.m., you're getting up to clean that fork. Now, supportive types are a little indecisive and they require more time to make big decisions. You can earn their trust typically by providing them reassurance. And when seeking their opinion and ideas, it's best to encourage them to express their concerns and allow them time to make decisions. The latter part is something that I have to work on, which is giving people patience and time to actually make their decisions. Lastly, analytical is the last communication style, and this is my favorite to interact with. My ex-boss fits this to a mold. He's cautious, he's precise, disciplined. He's predictable. I knew exactly what he wanted on a project. Analytical types, they like facts and figures. It's best to present them with information in a very organized manner, very succinct, and be prepared to answer a ton of questions because you will get a lot. However, also with analytical types, it's important that you give them time to actually think through and digest their information. Once again, an area that I have to work on, patience. So in conclusion, I'm going to take all this into account when I host my next board meeting or just for future social interactions. My biggest takeaway as a direct communicator is that I have to be more patient. I have to be more patient and allow others to share their feelings and explain details, because that can actually encourage great dialogue. This assignment taught me that a great communicator not only knows what to say, but they also know how their audience will perceive it and how their audience will respond to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Fitz. That's a lot to think about. So we'll compare and contrast you and Dr. Laxer at the end here. We'll see what we remember. Okay, Daryl, can I get a timer's report? That's Fitz. Fitz. Mhm.
Everyone qualified. Dr. Eric came in at 7 minutes and 12 seconds. Junior came in at 5 minutes and 37 seconds. And Fitz came in at 7 minutes and 20 seconds.
Okay, before we transfer over to our next portion of the evening, which is our table topics, I would like to offer you the second nugget that I learned about time management. And it's envisioning your day and scheduling appointments for you. So there's actually a lot of really amazing research being done on brain chemistry and how what we go to bed thinking is what our brain processes through the night. So if you're stressed, you're going to process that stress. If you're happy, you'll process that happiness. If you think about your next day, you'll process that and then be more readily able to create the next day. But I mean, you have to envision details. So your feet coming out of your bed, walking to the bathroom, heading to the kitchen, grabbing your cup of coffee or tea, putting on your clothes, getting in your car. What's the first task? What's the second task? What's the third task? How will you prepare for interruptions? What are you going to do when that person's coming to talk to you in your office, or maybe it's your spouse because you work from home? Close the door, right? And then a great way to put that into practice, envisioning your day, is setting appointments for you. So if you want to achieve a goal, if you want to start walking more, if you want to start working out, eating healthy, all these things, you need to schedule an appointment for yourself out of the office, taking a meeting with me, right? So schedule it during your day so that nobody can interrupt that meeting time. Okay. All right, well, I am not sure. I'm just like waiting for Andrea to walk through the door and make a big appearance because she's been doing that these last few weeks that I've been up here, but I don't think she can make it. So I am going to just transition to our table topics portion of the evening. I realize I did not introduce that person. What the table topics portion is, it's just an opportunity to give the evaluator some time to think over their notes while we do some impromptu question and answer. So I'll offer a few questions to a volunteer. Well, I'll offer one question to one volunteer at a time. You won't know what the question is, but you'll come up here, I'll ask it, and you have 2 minutes to answer it succinctly. Go for the green is what we like to say. So wait for that green light to come on that Daryl likes to press. So do I have any takers for the first question? Any volunteers online? Y'all are all welcome to participate. Okay, yeah, come in. I'm sorry, what's your name again? Leon? Leon, thank you so much. Okay, the first question. Okay, would you rather go back in time or would you rather go forward in time?
Thank you, Mary. Again, my name is Leon. Thanks for having me. And to answer your question, if whether I would want to go forward in time or back in time, I would definitely have to say I would like to go back in time. When I was a kid, one of my favorite books that I used to read was called Time Warp Trio. It was about 3 kids who somehow found a way to go back in time, to be knights, to be warriors, and to be so many other mythological figures. And I always thought to myself, oh, that would be so cool to do. Because in many ways, through going back in time, you can also go forward in time as well. By understanding history, by understanding past events, you can very much so help to gain a level of understanding that you can also see what's to come next. And also through wanting to go back in time is taking the time to pay attention to pivotal events that may have happened throughout history, throughout your life, so that you can gain a better understanding, so that you can find yourself in the most important time, which is the present moment. And to understand that can go a long way in life, as it has done for me, as I've spent time pondering on the past, the present, and the future. But the most specific time is right now, because this is the best time that you'll ever get. Thank you.
Awesome job, Leon. You knocked it out of the park. That was really good. Okay, I need a volunteer for our second question. Anybody? Okay, great. Arthur, right? What's your name? Dwayne? Okay, good to see you again. Okay, your question is, what is your biggest time waster?
Thank you very much. My biggest time waster is probably thinking about things that are not going to happen. I realize that one of the things I do probably and I shouldn't do is just worry about what may not happen. And the disadvantage of doing that is that you're feeling things that probably won't happen. And you're wasting your time, again, worrying about things that won't happen. But the best part of that is you realize that if you can change that, you can actually think about things that may happen. And that can probably benefit you better because now you're more in tune with what you want to happen as opposed to what you don't want to happen. So for me, the biggest waste timer is just thinking about things that won't happen.
Great job. Thank you, Dwayne. Thank you. Okay, I've got a third question. Any takers online? Nobody? Come on, guys. Daryl, you want to do it?
I can
Great.
try.
Okay, I've got a fourth question. Sarab, so I'll come back. I'll circle back to you for the fourth one. Okay, Daryl. Okay, okay, Daryl, your question is, what is your best time-saving practice?
They say in a Toastmasters contest, let's say, if you're going to do table topics. Now, if I was actually in a contest, I probably couldn't change what I was going to answer right here. But since this isn't a contest, what the heck, right? I like the first question. So I'd rather answer that one because I can't figure out an answer for this one here. That's why I was perplexed. I would go back in time. I don't know how much time I have forward. Look at me. I know I look fantastic. But we never know. As was said before, we don't know how much time we have, right? We have no clue. We do know what we did in our past part of our life. I know how I grew up. And I didn't grow up the way I wanted to grow up. I didn't do the things I wanted to do when I was younger. I thought I had so much potential. I was in advanced classes when I was in grammar school, but my grades didn't really show it. They were mediocre, if I'm going to be honest. I wanted to be a writer. I loved writing. I should have went to school for journalism. But I never had that opportunity. I didn't have an opportunity. I don't want to be of a sob story here, okay? I'm not going to go and tell you all the things that were against me and why I couldn't accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. But I would like to go back and live things over again. I've actually started writing a story. I had an opportunity when I was 20 years old to move to Beverly Hills, California. I didn't do that either. And I started writing a story, My Life in Beverly Hills. So I was imagining what my life in Beverly Hills would have been. It's really exciting. I'll read it to you sometime. Maybe you'll want to buy the book. But just so you know, I have become a writer. I'm a freelance writer right now. I've gotten an opportunity to do that. And I know I'm running out of time. Time's of focus today, so I'm done.
Thank you. Okay, Sarab, am I saying your name right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
Right, yeah.
Okay, your question is, if you could go back in time and tell your younger self one thing, what would that be? If you could go back in time and tell yourself one thing, what would that be?
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much for asking me such an interesting question, Madam Table Topic Master, and I really appreciate for giving me this opportunity. So if I would be given one time and I have to go back in the past, and what one advice I would give to my younger self? First of all, I would definitely answer the question, but before that, I would like to say one thing quickly, that I am kind of a person who doesn't believe in past, who doesn't believe in future. I believe in staying in present. I feel like that what is happening today, that most of the time either they are tied up to the past or they are too much thinking about future, that I wanted to do that, and it's fine. We all have some ambitions, we desires, but so many people have forgotten to stay or to live in the present. So I think present moment is the gift. We should cherish it, we should enjoy it, we should have great time in that moment. So tomorrow is never promised. So like, somebody told in the beginning. Now, if I have to give one advice to my younger self and I have to go back in the past, I would say that, like I told you that please don't overthink too much. Don't just burn yourself out. That don't be part of that rat race. There is some sort of rat race going on, and there are so many expectations people have around you, your family, your friends, your neighbors, your society. Don't prove anything to them. Just concentrate, just focus on yourself, live your life. There is nothing that we have to prove to anyone. We don't have any obligation to prove to anyone. I don't have any obligation to prove to anyone. It's only me. I have to compete to myself. I don't have to compete to anyone else. So that is one of the things. Definitely I would give advice that please don't burn out yourself for someone else. Just do your work honestly, give your best, and live in the present moment. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. That's good advice for us now in the present. So thank you for that. Okay, Daryl, are you prepared to give us the timer's report on table topics?
I had no idea I'm going to be working so hard when I came here today. I thought I was going to have fun, Leon came in at 1 minute and 31 seconds. Dwayne came in at 41 seconds. I was a little verbose at 2 minutes and 19 seconds. And Sohrab came in at 2 minutes and 12 seconds. So everyone qualified for picking anyone.
Thank you, Daryl. Okay, I get to take a break and hand the mic over to our general evaluator of the evening, Sean Sahol. Did I say it right? Is it Sohal?
Sohal's at Hall. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, honorable guests, both on Zoom and in person as well. At this time, we're going to go through our evaluators. They're going to evaluate our 3 great speakers that we had. And this is a time I wanted to say about evaluations. If you've given a speech before, try being an evaluator. It's a different exercise, right? You have to think, you have to kind of take in what the speaker had said, and you have a certain amount of time, and you have to be able to construct your response within that time. So challenge yourself also to fill that. Our first speaker was an excellent speaker. We had Dr. Laxer giving his speech. And for this evening, we'll have Jamie being his evaluator going over it. So help me welcome Jamie.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, and good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I am Jamie Richardson. I will have the distinct pleasure to provide the evaluation for Toastmaster Eric. I'm going to structure my feedback, as I always do, for those of you who've seen my evaluations previously, on 3 dimensions: content, structure, and delivery. So I want to start off with, hopefully everyone in the audience was paying attention to Toastmaster Eric's storytelling, because that's one of his strengths. If you've seen Toastmaster Eric speak before, he always brings back memories and experiences and vignettes from his life to bring his speeches to life. And tonight was no different. I thought it was a fantastic way to get to jumpstart the conversation into the 4 communication styles. I will say I am incredibly impressed with your memory to remember dialogue and specific things that you said in a particular moment, because I guarantee you I can't do that. And much to my wife's chagrin, I usually forget what was said yesterday. So congratulations on bringing that level of richness to your speeches. Great use of humor, in terms of bringing some jokes into the speech as well. I love your variety of vocabulary that you bring into your speeches as well, in terms of using interesting words to convey a particular message. So continue to find ways to bring that to life as well. I thought you did a good job of structuring the 4 communication styles and bringing them to life through personal experiences or through and starting to bring them to life with your own experiences in your medical background, right? So giving specific examples around the distinct, call it communication styles there. From an opportunity perspective on content, what I would say is I could tell this wasn't necessarily a topic you were passionate about. I think you learned something from it, and I think you were able to adapt it. But what you spent a lot of real estate on the definitional aspects of each of those 4 communicational styles. And instead, I would have spent that on the stories or the examples or bringing that to life even more memorably than you already did, which I think was an effective device. But like the laundry list of sort of definitional aspects probably lost the audience a little bit at that point. Let's move to structure. Overall, I thought the moment in time to get started and to kind of lure us in was very effective. Good transitions throughout the speech in terms of the story, then moving into the definition of the 4 communication styles, and then also telling us where you were going all the way throughout. So we knew where the speech would ultimately end up. We talked about the redoing the previous conversation. I thought that was a great device to bring it to life for the audience, as well as to go back and play that experience or that conversation over again in 4 different ways. So that was very effective as well. Over to delivery, great confidence, good pace. I know you wanted to work on or think about pacing. I thought you did a very good job of that, especially in the moments right when you were about to deliver the new way of you might have communicated that and being able to pause and kind of start that conversation all over again. That was very effective. Good eye contact throughout. On the opportunity side, on this one, maybe again, based on the content, just a little bit less energy than I've seen you previously when you're telling a story about something that you're really passionate about, a little less voice inflection and a little less pronounced hand gestures. So those are things just to keep in mind that continue to push on when you can ideally find the topics that maybe grab your attention a little bit more. Congratulations, great job. Look forward to the next one.
Thank you, Jamie. As you can tell, Jamie's level of attention to detail goes a long way. When you have a good speaker like Dr. Laxer, it's very hard and very difficult to find points in which you can improve on. And Jamie did a great job pinpointing those. Our next evaluator will be David. David will be evaluating our second speaker, Junior. So help me welcome David. David.
I think I have to do this. Seeing a lot of half people tonight. All right, thank you much. Now, if you want to learn how to do great evaluations, pay attention to what Jamie did and also what Vanessa's going to do next. I tend to wing it, so don't follow my lead. Now, if you paid attention, you heard that Junior rides a unicycle. That tells a lot about a person, I think. But going on, Junior, you used the stage. Now, what little bit we have here, and we're going to change the camera for next week to be wider, but you did use the stage. That's an important part of public speaking instead of just standing in one place. You also engaged us by riding your bicycle. You actually got down and rode your bicycle, which is a nonverbal communication. You probably didn't have to say bicycle if you did it like that. And you did a great job at storytelling. And that's what public speaking is. Public speaking is just telling great stories. And usually what we try to do is show, don't tell. And you painted a colorful picture with your words. I felt like I was at Central Park with you, riding the bikes with you and your sister. And that's a great way to be able to speak to people where they can actually visualize what you talked about. One of the great things you did was you lost your place. But instead of saying so or you just got your thoughts together and you continued, because everybody does that. Nobody's perfect, and therefore, since you were able to recover from it, I thought that was great. And room for improvement. I didn't really have any for you. I think you're a natural. Ever since you've come here, you feel very comfortable. So my room for improvement is just keep on keeping on, keep entertaining us. Now, I will challenge you to, I believe, Junior is an artist, and I believe that you're here just to learn public speaking so that you can talk about your art at art shows. So my challenge to you would be in the future, maybe bring a piece of your art here and talk about it as a speech. I think that would be an interesting topic for you. With that, back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, David. Excellent evaluation. For our last speaker of this evening, we had Fitz, and we will be having Vanessa. Vanessa will be evaluating Fitz and giving us her response. So Vanessa, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Sean, and thank you, Fitz, for an excellent speech tonight. First of all, I thoroughly enjoyed your speech. And as I considered what you shared with us, I realized your speech in a way illustrated this principle that I've heard about before, which is that sometimes your strengths often have an opportunity for improvement along with them. And I thought that's actually a great structure for my evaluation. And I'll start with things that I think you did really well. And really, I think my evaluation fits into two categories: technique and sort of how you used the stage, and also the content, the ideas that you shared with us tonight. But I'll start with your technique. One thing that immediately stood out is your energy and enthusiasm. And the way I could tell you had that enthusiasm for your topic was your gestures, your eye contact. I don't think I ever saw you stop making contact with the audience. You looked around the room. I really felt like you were engaging, you were reaching out as you spoke to us. You had a lot of gestures. Although you were holding the mic in one hand, I constantly saw you moving. There was so much movement. And that just brought this energy, and we all felt it. We were all just drawn in. And you could tell that you were interested in your topic. You were talking about the social club that you've just started. And that energy was contagious. And that's something that's hard to fake. And I think you did an excellent job of making us all really care about the topic, even though it is kind of an academic, dry topic. One thing you could work on in that same category is try to intentionally slow down some of your gestures. And I say this not because I want to bring down your energy, but because sometimes being aware of intentional gestures rather than just letting it all flow with the energy can be a really good exercise for engaging the audience further, because as they see you emphasizing one point at a really key point in your speech, then they will tune in a little bit more. Something I have to work on, I think all of us do, but if you try challenging yourself by slowing down a little bit with your pacing on your next round, that could really give us a new dimension. You can still keep that high energy, but maybe just keep the gestures a little bit slower and see how that feels. And you can keep playing around with it as you go through other pathways. Another area you did really well in was your story and your content. You clearly gave a lot of thought to what you were sharing. You shared from your own personal experience. This is always a gold standard with speeches. You can always get some amazing stories, and stories stick with people. I know when I'm listening to someone telling a personal story, I remember it so much better. One thing you could do to help us really remember your story is to simplify. And it took me forever to realize the value of simplifying my story. Maybe just focus on 3 ideas, 3 main points. And that will help us not to get too lost in all the details. Other than that, I think you did an excellent speech tonight, and I am really excited to hear your future speeches. With that, I'll turn it back over to Sean.
Thank you, Vanessa. Well done. As you can see this evening, the evaluators that we have, 3 excellent evaluations on 3 great speeches. They all covered content. They all went over the pros and the cons and how each of our speakers can improve. Take notes, I did. And I hope that you challenge yourself and try to take this role on as well. At this point, I'd like to ask Daryl for our timers report. Yes, on our evaluators.
Jamie came in at 3 minutes and 32 seconds. David was at 1 minute. It's only because you were saying thank you at the end. So you're right there. But I'm just being milliseconds, you know, like in the race. David came in at 1:59 and Vanessa came in at 3:21. And I would like to apologize for myself. I had problems with red lights. I kept on leaving it on here. I did okay with the other ones, but kind of like drivers in Charlotte, they have problems with red lights. They seem to go through them a lot. So I'll try to be better next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Daryl. No problem. You did an excellent job. I believe at this point, the grammarian? Yes, the Grammarians Report. I'd like to please help me welcome Elvis to the podium as he will provide us with his Grammarians Report.
Thank you, Sean. Mr. General Evaluator. This was one of the hardest grammarian roles that I've ever had the pleasure to work on, because as I was listening at all the speakers, I thought that I was missing out because nobody was actually using any filler words. It was so clean. Everybody was so clean. The table topic speakers, the prepared speeches, the evaluators were all very clean. And so I would like to ask for a round of applause to all of you. For such an amazing job at keeping your speeches concise without filler words. I would like also to ask for kudos for Sarah Mary, Leon, Sean, Jamie, and my apologies to David. And if I missed anyone who used the word of the day, again, my apologies. But like I said, it was very hard. I was so concentrated in trying to find those filler words and those expressions that we don't like, and everybody was very clean. I would like to also mention a few of the expressions that were used as I was paying attention to everybody. Make every second count. Easier said than done. If they can do it, so can you. A great communicator not only knows how to express his ideas, but also knows how to be perceived by others. And I just have to compete with myself. With that, I would like to call back our general evaluator.
Sorry. Thank you, Elvis, for our report on that. As a meeting as a whole, I think it was on time. It was punctual per the theme of what we had going on today. Everyone participated. It was a full club, both online members on Zoom and also in person as well. We were able to get 4 table topics in, which is actually very well, given that we had 3 speakers. So given that we were able to have 4 topics, three speakers, I think we did a very good job on timing, though I don't know what time it is. So at that point, I would like to turn it over to our Toastmaster of the day. Thank you for having me as your general evaluator, Sarah Mary.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you for your final thoughts. Okay, well, I'll leave you with your last nugget. Y'all know that I am the crazy plant lady, and I'm not letting you leave here without a tidbit about plants. So if we want to add years to our lives, the best way to do that is to eat your fruits and vegetables. We have an amazing thing on the ends of all of our DNA that's called a telomere. And it actually represents the length of our lifespan. It shortens naturally over time. But through meditation, exercise, eating your fruits and vegetables, getting enough sleep, all the foundational wellness practices, you can increase the length of that telomere, regenerate it, and literally add time to your life. But not only that, high quality as well. Because what's the point of getting older if you're just going to get sicker, right? It doesn't have to be that way. Old age is actually not a cause of death. Illness is. And you can fight illness by staying healthy. So that's your 3rd tip of the day. With that, am I closing the meeting? I'm going to turn over to our presiding officer, Elvis. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Another round of applause to our Toastmaster of the day. As they say, a Toastmaster wears many hats. I'm wearing a few hats today. I would like to, again, thank you all for joining us tonight, all our guests, all our members and guests online and also in person. I would like to call upon our guests one final time to give us your thoughts, general thoughts about the meeting. I would like to start with those who are on Zoom first, and then we'll go around with those who are on site. Please just give us your thoughts. What do you think? What your thoughts are about the meeting overall?
Hi, my name is Anton. I thought the meeting was great. I thought it was well organized. I liked how each participant and whatever they did, whether they were timekeeper or taking care of the words, was actually working the principles of bettering themselves in speech at the same time. I thought it was just a well-run meeting, and it also looked like it was a lot of fun. You know, everyone had their strengths, and it was great.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Hi, everyone. It's Melissa. I thought the meeting was very efficiently run, which I can certainly appreciate. And I also loved how everyone had a role, and I was able to speak in different times, and definitely looking forward to participating at upcoming events. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I also have the similar thoughts. The meeting was pretty organized, and I really appreciate for giving me opportunity to talk, and I feel like welcomed, and I think that's why I was here to learn and grow, and I am looking forward to join the meeting next time again. Thanks a lot once again.
Thank you. You're very welcome. And now I'd like to pass on the mic to our guests one more time.
Yeah, so it was an interesting meeting. It was the first time I've ever seen one of these done. It really tapped into my competitive nature. Very score kept, very analytical, targets, goals. As far as the social aspect, it was very interesting to see everybody kind of tap into their personal side to bring forth the message they were coming across with. And I thought that was also an excellent way to help us understand and learn in the journey, which wasn't really expecting, with how in tune you need to be to complete your speeches.
Yeah, again, thanks for having me. One of the things that really stood out to me in this meeting is that I know a lot of times when people come together to meet informally, sometimes the professionalism isn't always there. But one thing that really stood out to me this meeting, and really all the meetings that I've been through, is the amount of professionalism that everybody brings to the table, which means that they're very dedicated to progressing as a public speaker. And that's also very motivating to kind of find a tribe of people who have a similar goal, because I definitely believe when it comes to reaching goals, you get there a little bit quicker when you have a team or a community around you. So thank you.
Well, again, I felt very inspired. Certainly hearing everyone speak, I was very impressed because everyone delivered so eloquently. And like you were saying, they had very few so's, and it made me think about when I a little nervous a bit about the road ahead in speaking, but that's why I'm here. So I'm excited. So thank you so much. Enjoyed it. And the organization.
I've been coming here for 4 months. I don't know, probably. So I'm like a guest, but like a quasi member. And I'm always amazed at how well people speak. It's motivating to see what you guys can do creatively. And I enjoy coming. I look forward to the next time.
We have Daryl as well.
What can I say? I thought it was an absolutely great meeting. I think there's 15 people here, 5 on the screen, 20 people, phenomenal attendance. Everyone participated. Everyone seemed to have fun. Everyone was really good at what they did too. It was really well run. I am from another Toastmasters. Time is not always our best thing at ours. We're not always starting on time. So I appreciated that everyone did keep to the correct time, started on time. And all in all I could say was it was an absolutely great meeting. And I'm sure everyone here enjoyed it. And I know I did.
So much, Daryl. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for coming. We'll have another meeting next Tuesday. And with that, if there's any other announcements, I will call this meeting adjourned. See you all next week.